Welcome to the CTCL Virtual College Fair. Thank you for joining us as you make your way into the room, which obviously is a virtual thing, not a physical thing. But thanks for joining us again. A few housekeeping announcements as we get started. You can use your Q&A button on the screen to type your questions to our presenters at any time. So do that whenever you feel that you have a question. Just click on the Q&A button and type that in, and they'll see that throughout the presentation. Your cameras and microphones are off, so the panelists cannot see or hear you. The good news on your end, you can get as comfortable as you want and just listen to this great information that's going to be presented. This is just one of many different sessions happening, so be sure to sign up for additional sessions where you signed up for this one. And this presentation is being recorded and will be available within about a week at the same website where you registered. So that's the housekeeping stuff. I will get out of the way and turn it over to our presenters.
Yes, hello. Thank you so much. My name is Emily Davis Etheridge Hamry. I am the Associate Director of Admission here at Agnes Scott College. And I am lucky to have a couple of amazing people joining me in this conversation today and helping you all get to know Agnes Scott a little bit better. So Irfa, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Irfa, and I'm an admission counselor at Agnes Scott along with Emily Davis. And we're also really excited to have a current Scottie with us today.
Hi, everyone. My name is Emil Green. I'm a current junior at Agnes Scott, and I'm going to be giving you a behind-the-scenes look at the real Agnes Scott experience.
Yeah. So the three of us are going to walk you through some basics on Agnes Scott, our academics, a little bit of admission information, and then as we're going through, as Russ mentioned, feel free to drop any questions you have in the Q&A box at any point. We're going to probably save those for the very end and answer all of those questions at once. So for now, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Irfa to get started.
Thanks, Emily Davis. So the first thing we'll kind of talk about is what does our campus and our community look like? So if this is your introduction to Agnes Scott, you'll notice that we are a smaller college. So we have about a little over 1,000 students on our campus. We are small, but we are mighty. So as you can see, we are representative of 42 different states and 17 different countries. So as you can already tell, when you come to Agnes Scott, you're entering a really diverse environment, and this gives you an idea of that geographical diversity. A couple of other markers of our student body: about 63% of our students identify as students of color, and about 33% are first-generation college students. So again, of course, this isn't all-encompassing of what our student body represents, but just to give you a couple of ideas of what you would see if you were to walk through our campus and meet a few of our students. While we are a women's college, I do want to point out that we have our gender policy written on screen and additional information on our website, but we are a women-centered environment. So we do invite students that might identify as transgender, agender, gender fluid, non-binary to apply to Agnes Scott. So a little bit about where we're located. So some of you might be joining us here from Decatur or Atlanta. Some of you might not know where we are. So Decatur, Georgia is about 10 minutes outside of the city center of Atlanta. So we have the best of both worlds. We're located in this really wonderful small town of Decatur, Georgia, but just a quick 10 minutes from kind of your downtown Atlanta area. Like I mentioned, we are a women's college, and we do focus on a liberal arts curriculum. So if you want to explore a little bit about our majors and minors, we will talk about them a little bit later, but you'll notice that there's kind of a variety of majors that we offer pertaining to our liberal arts curriculum. Another really awesome marker of our academic experience is our signature summit experience. So that is really what sets Agnes Scott apart, and Emily Davis will be diving into that in just a little bit. And last but not least, we are a NCAA Division III varsity athletics campus, so we offer about 6 different sports on campus. a little bit of a deeper look at Decatur, Georgia. I could talk about Decatur forever. I love Decatur. I did grow up in the Atlanta area, so I'm very familiar. Our campus is literally a 5-minute walk to kind of the downtown city center that you see up on screen. Decatur is known for its restaurants, its shopping, coffee shops, ice cream shops. Our office has a big debate of which of the 2 ice cream stores they have affinity to. I know I am team butter and cream. And another really cool about downtown Decatur is that we also host a ton of awesome festivals. So one of the largest book festivals happen within our community, which is really exciting. So I know Emil shares a love for Decatur just as I do. So Emil, do you want to talk a little bit about what makes Decatur your favorite?
Most definitely. Being an out-of-state student coming from such a big city like New York City, Decatur was definitely super attractive to me when I was looking at potential colleges. Decatur has so much to offer, as Gertha mentioned, but one of my favorite parts of Decatur is our MARTA station. So if you don't know, Decatur has a wide transportation system, which is called MARTA, and one of the train stops is actually just a 5-minute walk from our campus located in downtown Decatur. So there you can hop on the train, get into the city really quickly to experience more culture, more food, more festivals with your friends. And even better, there's the 19 to 20 other colleges and universities right in our radius, where you can also mix and mingle with other college students, and of course the wide variety of professional opportunities available in the city as well.
Wonderful, thanks Emil. And another really awesome part of our campus that I want to highlight is our campus bookstore. So we are not traditional Agnes Scott. We always have something awesome up our sleeves. So our bookstore, Karis Books and More, is actually one of the oldest feminist bookstores in the Southeast. So while they do have a lot of our gear, you will also find some wonderful selection of books, a lot of different authors represented, and Karis also hosts really wonderful events on campus too. So we get to tap into their awesome network as well. So talking a little bit about what it might be like to be in an Agnes Scott College classroom. So thinking about our student body, it might make sense that our student to faculty ratio is about 10 to 1. So lots of hands-on one-on-one experience between our faculty and our students. Our average class size is about 16 students, but often you'll hear students talking about how they might be in classes of 5 or 6. And due to this, you might realize that we do have really great discussion-based classrooms. So not as many scantrons and things. You're really going to be engaging with your peers and with your faculty members. In general, women's colleges do a really great job at student-centered teaching, and I have to give some love to our faculty. They are experts in their respective fields, and this just makes the classroom experience a little bit more dynamic. Again, that diversity is also reflected within our classrooms. So some really great conversations, since our students represent different backgrounds, they're able to bring different lenses to our classrooms, which is really, really great for conversations. And last but not least, this rich community doesn't exist just within the classrooms. Often our Scotties continue those conversations outside of the classrooms and might engage in those through clubs and organizations and other experiences. So Emil, I know that you, of course, take classes at Agnes Scott. So do you want to talk a little bit about what it's like to study in a women-centered environment?
Most definitely. I know for some students, studying in a women-centered environment can maybe seem a little intimidating at first. But I have to say the most attractive part about learning in a women-centered environment is truly the support that you get from your peers and your faculty, and really just the overall community. Also the diversity, like we mentioned earlier, really richens that classroom space. So when you have people from different walks of life with different values and different traditions all coming into one space, and being in those really small classrooms with maybe 16 people, really every voice can be heard in that space. And it creates conversations, like Yerfa said, that don't just resonate in those classroom spaces, but they get taken to the dorms or to clubs and organizations on our campus. And again, it truly makes our campus a community that's extremely unique.
So now that you have a little bit of context of who we are, where we're located, I wanted to give you a look at our mission statement because it truly does anchor the Agnes Scott experience. So the mission of Agnes Scott College is to educate women to think deeply, live honorably, and to engage the intellectual and social challenges of our times. I love our mission statement, but you might be wondering, okay, great, but how does one do this? Well, I'm gonna pass it over to Emily Davis, and she'll talk to you a little bit about how we're able to engage in this actually through day-to-day life.
Yeah, I think that our mission statement, it truly is such an important part of kind of how students are experiencing campus. And that last piece of it, engaging the challenges of our times, is my favorite piece. And you, like Irfa said, you may be wondering, how are we doing that? The answer for us is through Summit. So like Irfa mentioned earlier, Summit is our signature experience here at Agnes Scott. It really encompasses all 4 years that you spend on our campus. And essentially, Summit is giving our students these real world kind of hands-on opportunities to prepare them for a lifetime of social and intellectual and professional growth and mobility. And so the way that it is doing that is that it has these kind of 3 core areas that Summit's really focusing on. So global learning, leadership development, and professional success. So no matter what you end up studying, no matter what you major in, how many minors you have, these are going to be the 3 areas that are infused into pretty much all of your experiences at Agnes Scott. Because of course, those are going to kind of bleed into your own academic interests and your own area of study. So you'll see we do have at the undergraduate level, 34 majors, 32 minors, and 3 dual degree programs that students can explore, as well as 6 graduate programs on our campus. And so these kind of core principles of Summit, that global learning, leadership development, and professional success, really integrates with your own academic interests through the signature experiences that are a part of Summit. So these signature experiences are designed to reach students, again, no matter what you may be studying. And they're there to help you kind of explore your different options, explore all of the paths that you might be interested in, and then figure out which one's right for you and how to follow that path a little bit further. So we don't necessarily have time to touch on every single signature experience and all of the pieces of Summit, but I do want to highlight a few of those for you. And then I'm also going to tap in Emil at different points so that she can tell you a little bit more about her own experiences as a current student going through this Summit experience. Okay, so the first thing that I want to talk about is legacy, because it is literally the very first thing you do as a Scottie. It's a 2-part leadership immersion program, and the first part actually happens in between move-in day and your very first semester on campus. So like I said, the first thing that you're having, the first interaction that you're really having with your classmates. In that first half, you're going to be exploring your own leadership style, kind of figuring out your own leadership strengths, but also starting conversations about what does inclusive leadership look like? What does allyship look like? What's the relationship between power and privilege and bias, and how does that affect us as leaders? So those are really the conversations that you're going to start before your first courses at Agnes Scott. And then that second piece happens after your first semester. So you have your feet on the ground a little bit. You're going into your second semester at Agnes Scott. You're going to come back together, come to Legacy, this leadership immersion program, and start clarifying your personal and professional goals and how those are going to kind of blend into the rest of your time at Agnes Scott. So with that, Emil, do you want to tell us a little bit about what your Legacy experience looked like?
Most definitely. For me, Legacy was extremely fun, getting to meet all of my classmates for the first time. But one of my favorite parts was something that we like to call the Strengths Finders Quest. So that's basically a quiz that you take over the summer before you get to campus. And during this Legacy period, you're able to get your results. And basically the test assesses your 5 top leadership strengths. Which I thought was really cool, because immediately once you get to campus for the first time, you have these strengths in your back pocket. For me, it was definitely a boost of confidence knowing that I already had so many tools and skills that I could leverage, not only in an academic space, but in a professional space as well, that I didn't even know I already had. So walking into college with those definitely gave me, again, a boost of confidence and kind of some gusto to start my first college classes.
Yeah, and speaking of kind of blending into those first college classes, I definitely think legacy leads into one of the first classes that you take at Agnes Scott, which is Leadership 101. Just to give you some insight into that first semester, most of our students take about 4 courses each semester. So one of those courses for all of our first year students will be Leadership 101. We call it LDR, just in case we accidentally say that, you'll know what we're talking about. So these Leadership 101 courses are really taking some of the conversations that you were having in legacy and applying it to your academic interests and applying it in a lot of ways to the world around you. So maybe you are starting at Agnes Scott and you were like me when I first arrived at Agnes Scott many years ago. You have no idea what you want to study or what you want to major in, but you enjoyed history in high school. And so you want to take the course on race, gender, and social change, case studies of women's leadership in US history. Or maybe you're arriving in that first semester, you know exactly what you want to study, you plan on going into a STEM field, so you want to take gender equity in STEM and kind of further explore what that looks like within that field that you want to go into. And so I think the exciting part of this Leadership 101 course is that it's really helping you kind of build that relationship between your leadership style and your interest and the things that you want to study and pursue. And so that's a relationship that you're going to continue to build on as you are going into your major, as you're starting to take those higher level courses. So Emil, you want to tell us a little bit about what Leadership 101 course you took and what that experience looked like for you?
Most definitely. So I took LDR 101 Media and Communications. So in that class, we studied everything from the beginning of time with a lot of different communication strategies like the printing press, all the way to modern times with Snapchat and Instagram, and how those different social media sites are really shaping the way we communicate as a society. And for me, I had never heard of communications as a field before, but it was very interesting to me, and it truly shaped everything I did in college after that, between my internships or clubs and organizations I decided to get involved in. So this is a really great way to kind of test the waters and see what you're passionate about.
And so that's kind of a big focus of your first semester. And then leading into your second semester at Agnes Scott, you go through that second half of legacy. And then as you're selecting your new 4 courses for the spring semester, one of the courses that you're going to be taking is Global 102. And so in this Global 102 course, you're really kind of exploring the global patterns and systems that have shaped and continue to shape the world and just human lives in general. And so similar to that Leadership 101 experience, you're going to be able to explore this theme, explore those patterns through your own interests. So maybe you're interested in astronomy, you want to take astronomy and discovery, or explore in fashion, take fashion capitals, image, and industry. There are about 20 different courses that you get to choose from. Again, so choosing something that's really going to fit your own interests. As a part of this Global 102 course, there's also a global immersion program that's built into the curriculum of the course. And so the way it's worked, it's called Global Journeys. And historically, what it's looked like is about halfway through the semester, you, your professor, and your classmates would all travel to a destination either in the US or abroad for about 7 to 9 days and actually experience those things that you were learning inside the classroom. I'm going to have Emil tell you about her global journey in just a second. But before I do, I want to acknowledge the fact that we are actively watching the global patterns and systems change and reshape and reform in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. And so I think at Agnes Scott, we're also reshaping and reforming those global journey programs as well. So there's still very much a global immersion program with students able to make virtual connections with representatives of communities all over the world, while also focusing and tying those into domestic opportunities in the United States. So Emil, you want to tell us where you went on your global journey and kind of what you took away from that experience?
Yes, Global Journeys was probably, I feel like, the highlight of my first year. I got to go to Ghana and focus on women in leadership. And there we did everything from go on rainforest hikes and see actual cacao beans, or make dinner with local villagers and see how only a small group of women fed an entire village. all the way to shadowing the top CEOs of Ghana, which actually happen to be women as well. And really just the combination of those different experiences during those 7 to 9 days allowed me to do a lot of reflection, not only about my own career path and what I've previously thought about leadership, but maybe some stereotypes or things that we kind of associate with women in leadership in the United States versus how it is in Ghana. So all of those tools ultimately allowed me to choose my specialization or minor in leadership development. So again, this is just another hands-on experience that can really help you kind of start to individualize your Agnes Scott experience in your own path.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you, Emil. And that kind of ties a little bit into the next thing I want to talk about, which is kind of where is this leading to? How are these experiences going to help you on that path and help you figure out what that path looks like? An important part of that is professional exploration, having the opportunity to test out those interests in a workplace environment. And so one kind of particular way that our students are able to go through that professional exploration is through SCALE. So SCALE is the sophomore class Atlanta leadership experience, and all of our students participate in it during their sophomore year. It's an externship that's really built into your semester. So it lasts for about a week, and the way that it works is that students get together on our campus, first of all, in teams of about 3 to 5 people. And they start conversations on our campus about what leadership looks like in professional settings before actually going out into Atlanta, connecting with local organizations in the Atlanta area on site, and actually observing and practicing those leadership skills within the context of that professional setting. So that's kind of one experience that's built in for every single student. And I'm gonna let Emil talk about her experiences with SCALE in just a minute. But before I do, I also wanna talk about kind of other opportunities for professional exploration, because there are so many other opportunities for our students to do those independent internships and research opportunities. So about 70% of our students do complete at least one internship during their 4 years. About half actually do 2 or more internships. And 52% of students are completing mentored research. So really getting a lot of firsthand experience as they're going through their Agnes Scott career. I think a big benefit of that for our students is the fact that we have the city of Atlanta in our backyard. We already talked about it a little bit. It's got good food. We all have opinions on ice cream in the area. But there are also just so many opportunities for students professionally. So with SCALE, we were able to partner with 20 to 30 different Atlanta organizations like the Atlanta Birth Center, the Dream Women's Basketball Team, Morehouse School of Medicine, Atlanta Music Project, Wayfinders, Tapestry, these amazing local organizations, so that students could go out and see them firsthand. Once you are looking for those independent opportunities for internships and research, there are places like the Centers for Disease Control, International Rescue Committee, big Fortune 500 companies like AT&T and Coca-Cola, just so many different levels of opportunities available. So with that, Emil, can I have you talk first of all about SCALE and what that experience looked like, and then more broadly about internships?
Sure. So I got to be a part of the pilot version of SCALE, and I got to go to Wayfinders LLC, which is basically a company that aims to help professionals expand their brands through a coaching method. So I got to take a lot out of that experience, but mostly a lot of the things that I knew were really important to me in a work environment. One of those being interacting with people and the act of storytelling and getting to interact with Sarah Nell, who's the CEO, getting to interact with her clients and hear their stories and where they came from, and really get that intimate time with her clients was really important to me. And I knew that that's something that I wanted to have in my future career path. So then when I decided to apply for internships like Nike or working with an Agnes Scott alumna who's a filmmaker in the communications department, those were things that I still kept in those experiences and will eventually lead into my desired career path. So this is a really great way to kind of find out things that you really want to incorporate and maybe things that you want to leave out of your career experience. But either way, it's super valuable information as you're kind of creating the person you want to be.
Yeah. And kind of going off of that, we've giving you information about some of the great opportunities that you have at Agnes Scott, a little bit of leadership and global and professional success. But the last thing I want to talk about before I turn it back over to Irfa is just the way that the Agnes Scott community is going to support you through all of these experiences and really be there to help you along that journey. And so we have a pretty robust advising model at Agnes Scott with a few different levels to it. So I'm going to kind of talk through what that looks like. But one of the important people that you're going to get to know during your time at Agnes Scott is your Summit advisor. So they are a professional advisor on campus. They start working with you over the summer before your first year. And then actually that person consistently works with you all the way up until graduation. So they are truly a constant in your Agnes Scott experience, whether it's just figuring out what classes you're taking next semester, trying to decide what your major is, if you should add in a minor, what that's going to look like, finding opportunities on campus, and really anything that you need. I like to think of your Summit advisor as if there's ever a time where you just don't know what your next step is, you go and talk to your Summit advisor and they're going to help you figure that out. The next kind of piece I want to talk about is peer advising. So we have a network of upper class students who work as peer advisors for our incoming first years. And they really start working with their first year students over the summer, again, before their first year, and then leading through that first semester on campus. So the idea with these peer advisors is they're just there to help you kind of make that transition into college life and into the Agnes Scott community in particular, and help you really kind of make those connections to our campus. For us, most of our students declare their major in their sophomore year, or by the end of their sophomore year, I should say. And so once you do declare your major, you're also going to get a faculty mentor. So maybe this is a professor that you just really clicked with when you took a course with them. Maybe it's someone who shares your research interests. Whatever it is, this is going to be someone in your academic discipline who's there to help you kind of take the most of the opportunities that your discipline allows. And then last but not least, I want to talk a little bit about career advising at Agnes Scott, in particular highlighting our career communities. So our career communities, they're new this year, and they are a network of current students as well as of alums that are there to support you as you're starting to think about your plans after Agnes Scott. So each career community is led by a dedicated career coach and focuses on a particular area. So for example, we have one career community that focuses on nonprofits and the arts. So then within that community, you're able to connect with alums who are out there working in nonprofits or working in the arts, other students who are interested in that field, get specialized career coaching from your advisor, as well as programs, maybe alum panels to talk about different opportunities in the field, graduate programs, graduate fairs and career fairs for you to help connect with those graduate schools and employers and kind of just figure out what your plans are for Agnes Scott. Or after Agnes Scott. So we have about 4 of those career communities, and you can either get involved in one or multiple communities depending on what your plans are for after Agnes Scott. So I know that was a lot of information. Hopefully the only question that is still on your mind is, how do you become a Scottie? And so I am going to turn it back over to Irfa and to our lovely friend Ramona. She is the official Welcome Scottie of the Agnes Scott Admission Office, who you see up on the screen right now. And they're going to talk to you a little bit more about application deadlines and the scholarship and admission process.
Absolutely. So if you are as excited about Agnes Scott as I am, I didn't attend Agnes Scott, but every time I talk about it, I wish I would have applied to Agnes Scott. So if you are ready to be a Scottie, there are a few deadlines up on the screen. So I want to highlight a couple of them. Our early decision deadline is November 1st. So that's for our students that know Agnes Scott is where they want to be. They are ready to commit. So if that's where you feel like you are in your process, you could apply for early decision. It is the binding deadline. If you want to keep your options open but are really, really excited to apply to Agnes Scott, I would gear you towards either the early action 1 or 2 deadline. So that would be November 15th and January 15th. I do like to emphasize our January 15th deadline. That is our scholarship priority deadline. So students that apply by January 15th to Agnes Scott will automatically be considered for merit-based scholarship. But of course, you are able to apply all the way up until March 15th, so you have time to kind of make that decision. If you are interested in those merit-based scholarships, of course, look to apply by January 15th. And those merit-based scholarships range anywhere from $18,000 to $25,000. And those are determined as we review your application. That top tier scholarship that we're looking at, the Trailblazer Scholarship, is our $25,000 renewable merit-based scholarship. So that is up to 4 years at Agnes Scott. If you apply to Agnes Scott and you're admitted and you have a 3.75 or above GPA, you will automatically get this wonderful $25,000 scholarship along with your admission notification letter. So a really great scholarship, but of course we range anywhere from 18 to 25. So if you aren't coming in at that 3.75 GPA, I promise it's okay. Another really great opportunity for our seniors this fall, we have created a grant for this year called a Great Scott Grant. This grant is in the amount of $1,000, and the way to be eligible for this grant is to attend one of our Great Scott Open House events. So I know that you learned some great information here today, but if you want to delve deeper into what Agnes Scott is about, if you want to hear from our faculty and get some FaceTime with additional current students, the Great Scott Open House is a really wonderful event that I would encourage you to attend. And if you do attend and you're a rising, and if you are a senior, you would be able to get that $1,000 grant. So I highly encourage you to come to one of our Great Scott Open Houses. We do have one this Saturday, and it'll be really, really fun. So come by and hang out with us on Saturday. And last but not least, what questions have we left unanswered? So of course, use that Q&A box to let us know, what would you like to hear more about? What have we not covered for you today? So we'll give you a minute or two to kind of put your questions in that Q&A box.
Yeah, and like Irfa said, we are happy to answer any questions about Agnes Scott, that summit experience, or of course the application and admission process. We also have a mail, so if you have questions specifically about that student experience, this is a great time to get those questions answered. I will go ahead and plug some of the other opportunities that we have to connect with Agnes Scott students, your admission counselors, and our campus community. So even if you leave here and you don't have questions right now, but you think of them later, just head to our website, agnescott.edu. We've got lots of opportunities for you to do one-on-one Scottie chats with amazing students like Emil. You can also connect with your admission counselor to do a one-on-one informational interview with them, just to learn a little bit more about Agnes Scott and kind of discuss your interests and what that might look like. But then we're also offering a lot of faculty chats this fall. So if you already know maybe an area that you're interested in studying at Agnes Scott, you can sign up for one of these faculty chats and talk to the professors who you would actually be working with and get a better sense of the opportunities that are available, not just at Agnes Scott, but more specifically in their department. So again, agnescott.edu, all that information is on our website, and definitely recommend going to check that out. Okay, and it looks like it's pretty quiet in the Q&A box right now. So Irfa, Emil, and I are gonna stick around for a few minutes just in case you have any last questions, but otherwise we're really excited that you were able to join us and to learn a little bit more about Agnes Scott. Any last advice, Irfa and Emil, that you wanna offer to students who are watching?
Yeah, really quickly, Emil, while you think of that, we do have a question that just came through in the chat box. So what is the percentage of Scotties who find jobs after graduation?
Ooh, yeah. So I am happy to go ahead and answer this question. So for the way that we kind of work with that is we do a survey with our students 1 year after graduation. So once they get to that 1 year graduation mark. So the most recent data that we have is from our class of 2018, from that 1-year graduation mark. We're still working on getting that data from our class of 2019. And so for the class of 2018, about 91% of job seekers were offered or accepted a position after graduation. And also for students who were planning to continue their education. So whether that was graduate school, law school, med school, anything like that, they actually had a 100% acceptance rate. So no matter what kind of their plans were after Agnes Scott, students were definitely doing pretty well after graduation.
Absolutely.
And it looks like we have another question. Can juniors in high school attend the open house? Yes, definitely. Anyone is open to attend that open house and to join us for those conversations, to connect with faculty and current students. Emil and Irfa will actually both be there presenting small sections, so you'll get to hear a little bit more from them as well. That Great Scott Grant is specifically for seniors this year though. Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to come back to it. Emil, Irfa, any last advice that you want to offer to people?
My only advice would just be to stay true to yourself. I know a lot of high school counselors probably suggest this, but truly writing out a list of your criteria for what feels best for you was extremely helpful to me. And remember that this is your journey, so really take ownership. You've already done a great job by taking ownership of your journey and coming to an event like this. But I definitely encourage you to write that list and kind of start getting true to what some of those criteria are for you. And hopefully Agnes Scott will meet all of those. But yeah, that would be my main advice, is to really continue to take ownership of this journey.
That was really great, Emil. I would say another unique part about Agnes Scott that you might have picked up on, hopefully through the presentation, is that we're such a supportive environment. I can only imagine how tough it must be to go through this college search process with everything happening. So use us. Us as admission counselors love talking to you. I promise we're not scary. We're actually really fun to talk to. So chat with us if you are nervous about anything in your college search process. If you can't figure out something that's going wonky with your Common App. We love talking to our students. We love engaging with them every single step of the way. So talk to us. We would love to get to know you better and use us as a resource.
Yeah. I'm going to kind of go off of something that Irfa said, using your admission counselor for my advice. I think that you're probably already doing something pretty right if you're exploring the different CTCL schools and looking at that small liberal arts college. That also means maybe you're doing something different than a lot of your peers are doing. If you're also considering a women's college, I would say a lot of our students weren't necessarily, looking for a women's college when they found Agnes Scott. Some of them were specifically looking for women's colleges, but either way, maybe they'd never known someone who had attended a women's college before. And so the reason that I give that example is it's okay to have a lot of questions about what an experience is going to look like and all of the different opportunities that a college has offered, because you've just never had that experience and never had the chance to connect. And it's even more frustrating now when students aren't able to physically visit a lot of campuses. So for sure, connect with your admission counselor. No question is too small, but also take those opportunities to connect with current students and community members, because these are the people that you're going to be spending 4 years with and really getting to know kind of the campus culture and campus community. Awesome. Okay. Well, thank you all for joining us. We've loved answering your questions and telling you more about Agnes Scott, and we hope that you will join us again soon. So bye, everybody.
Thank you for joining us, and thank you for presenting and wonderful information today. Again, for everyone, when you close this window, there'll be a link to a very quick 4-question survey. We'd appreciate any feedback that you can provide. Also, this is just one of many sessions being hosted. Be sure to sign up for additional sessions where you signed up for this one. And in about a week, you'll find this session's recording as well as all of the other session recordings at the same website where you signed up. Again, thank you both for attending, and to Emil, Irfa, and Emily Davis for presenting today. Have a great rest of your afternoon.